I've always believed that it's so important for financial education to start at home because when kids don't learn about money, there's the risk of them making a bunch of money mistakes during their early adult years and then spending several years thereafter recovering. But along with teaching money, I also think it's crucial to start at a young age, because if you wait until they're in their teens or maybe their late teens to start talking about saving and how to prioritize spending, by that point, they might have already developed some bad habits which aren't easy to break. So today we're looking at a few simple tips to help you raise money-savvy kids, and this video is brought to you by T. Rowe Price. They have a free resource that I think some of you might like, and we'll talk more about them in a moment. So the first tip is to normalize money discussions. Some people are uncomfortable talking about money, even in their own house, and this often goes back to the way they were raised. But regardless of how you grew up, it is so crucial to start normalizing these conversations with your children. So you really have to put aside your insecurities and be transparent. And by being transparent, I don't mean burdening your kids with information that they don't need to hear, but rather being open about how much things cost if you're asked, or even including them when preparing the family budget. This not only builds a foundation for financial literacy, but it also teaches them to be comfortable talking about money. But the good news is that more parents are starting to have these discussions. According to T. Rowe Price's annual Parents, Kids, and Money survey, the pandemic's impact to financial well-being has compelled more parents than ever to have money conversations with their kids. The survey also finds that the pandemic has exacerbated existing racial inequalities, including the racial retirement savings gap. So in some families, there's an increased urgency to openly discuss money matters with children. But of course, these conversations aren't always easy. So to help kids learn, T. Rowe Price has started a step-by-step financial education program called Money Confident Kids, which is designed to engage kids and provide the knowledge they need to be financially confident. The program uses games, lessons, and activities to teach basic financial concepts, but along with the basics, it also focuses on long-term financial goals and teaching them to manage their money in a way that can help them achieve long-term goals, such as saving for an education, building credit to buy a new car, and even saving for retirement. The goal is to increase financial literacy and build financial confidence in kids, so it's a valuable go-to resource, and you can access the program at moneyconfidentkids.com, and I will include a link below. Another tip is to explain why you're not buying something. When some parents don't want to buy an item that their child asks for, their default statement might be, "I don't have any money." And this often works because most kids understand that it takes money to buy things. Now, if you don't have money, there's nothing wrong with the statement, but if money really isn't the issue, instead of defaulting to this response, instead you might try explaining to them why you're not buying the item, and the reasons they can vary. Maybe your child already has an item similar to that at home, or maybe you just want to stick to the list. Because if you always explain not buying something with not having money, your kids might draw a connection. And from here, they might think that as long as they have money, they can buy whatever they want. However, when you respond differently, what you're actually saying is, "We can afford it, but we're choosing not to buy it." And by doing this, you're being more deliberate and intentional with your spending, which can teach your kids to do the same. Another tip is to play shopping, and this is great for helping kids understand that money doesn't always go far. This is very simple to set up, and to get started, you'll basically create price tags of varying amounts, and then you'll tag some of their favorite items or toys with the tags. And from there, you'll give them fake money, and it could be fake money that you made, it could be Monopoly money, it really doesn't matter. The idea is to allow them to shop their items with the amount that you gave them. But keep in mind that the amount of money that you give them should not be enough to buy everything. So if your price tags add up to $100, you might only give them $60. And this is a really good game because it teaches that sometimes in life there isn't enough money to get everything that you like, and sometimes you have to prioritize between item A and item B. Another tip is to give allowances for completing certain chores. Now, as far as whether kids should be paid to complete chores around the house is a topic of debate, and I've heard arguments from both sides. Some parents feel that they shouldn't have to pay their kids for helping out around the house because that's what they're supposed to do, but others feel that paying them or giving them an allowance for helping out around the house actually teaches them about finance, which is something that I do agree with. Some kids think that money is everywhere and it's ever flowing, so I do feel that by giving them an allowance, it does set the stage for teaching them how to be responsible with money, and they also are able to learn the connection separation between work and payment. Now, of course, this doesn't mean that you pay them for every single chore, but what you could do is attach the allowance to certain tasks around the house. So if they do the task, they get paid, and if they don't do it, they don't get paid. You should also teach about saving and investing. So in addition to giving them an allowance, make sure they save a percentage of that allowance every week. And this is important because if they're able to develop a good savings routine early, that habit might continue throughout their life. Now, you can open an account for them once they're ready, but before it even gets to this point, consider using a piggy bank. And when you give them their allowance, make sure they save 5 to 10%. And if you're using a piggy bank, this is also an opportunity for you to play banker and teach them about the rewards of not touching the money. And Money Confident Kids can also help with this because part of the program's goal is to help kids think beyond bank accounts and understand investment options and long-term wealth building strategies. Now, they can pull money out of their piggy bank at any time. However, for funds left in the piggy bank at the end of the month, you as the banker can agree to give them a small bonus, which provides an early lesson in how interest works. And finally, you have to teach about credit. Not only do some kids think that money is ever flowing, some also have the idea that credit cards are like a magic card that allow you to buy whatever you want. So even if 18 is still a few years off into the future, don't forget to teach about credit management. And one method you can use, and you don't have to do this all the time, but if they want a low-cost item, but they don't have enough allowance money to buy it, instead of giving them the cash for the difference, ever so often you might consider giving them a small loan instead. But make sure you add a few conditions. For example, you might require them to make weekly installment payments, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they have to pay off the whole thing within 30 days, but whatever they haven't paid off within a month, you will then tack on a small percentage to the outstanding balance. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. The idea is really to teach the importance of repaying credit and to help them understand that if you don't repay your full balance within a certain time frame, you then pay a fee to the banker, which can hopefully help them make smarter decisions when they start financing things in the future. So that's all that I have for you guys today. Before you leave, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. I talk a lot about personal finance, so if you like videos like this, I do post every weekend and sometimes during the week. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in a few days.